Captain Marcus Webb never expected his final mission to involve babysitting. After 30 years commanding Earth's deep space vessels, he found himself stationed on Kepler 442b, a frontier colony world where humans and the insectoid Zephyrian species had established an uneasy peace. The war had ended 2 years ago, but trust remained as fragile as morning frost. Webb's grandson Tommy had arrived 3 months earlier with the latest wave of civilian settlers. The boy was 8 years old, curious about everything, and completely fascinated by their alien neighbors. Unlike most humans on the colony, Tommy showed no fear when the towering mantis-like Zephyrians clicked their way through the settlement's shared spaces. The Zephyrians were remarkable engineers. Their exoskeletons gleamed like polished bronze, and their compound eyes could detect structural weaknesses in any material. They built with precision that made human construction look primitive. Yet they lived in sterile, geometric hives that seemed to lack any sense of joy or wonder. Everything changed when Tommy met Crixtar, a young Zephyrian whose father had died in the war. The alien child was considered defective by his people because he showed unusual emotional responses and curiosity about non-functional activities. While other Zephyrian younglings focused solely on practical learning, Crixtar would spend hours watching human children play. Webb discovered them one morning behind the settlement's main habitat dome. Tommy was trying to explain the concept of a treehouse to Crixtar, using hand gestures and broken pieces of the Zephyrian language he'd been learning. The alien child's antennae twitched with interest as Tommy described building a secret fort high in the branches of one of Kepler 442b's massive silverleaf trees. "Grandfather Marcus," Tommy called out when he spotted Webb approaching. "Crixtar wants to help me build a treehouse. His people know about strong buildings. Can we do it together?" Webb's first instinct was to refuse. The colonial administration discouraged mixing between species, especially involving children, but something in Crixtar's compound eyes reminded him of his own grandson's wonder. The young Zephyrian had already begun sketching structural diagrams in the dirt with one of his sharp leg appendages. "The silverleaf trees grow over 200 feet tall," Webb said slowly. "The branches are strong enough to support considerable weight." Crixtar's clicking speech was rapid and excited. Tommy grinned and translated the simple phrases he understood. "He says Zephyrian building methods could make it the strongest treehouse ever built. He knows about joints and supports that won't hurt the tree." Webb looked at the two children, one human and one alien, already planning their impossible project together. Maybe this was exactly what the colony needed. Maybe building something together was the first step toward building trust. "All right," he said finally, "but we do this properly. No shortcuts, and everyone follows safety protocols." The project that would change everything had just begun. The next morning, Webb found himself studying Zephyrian architectural principles for the first time in his life. Crixtar had brought detailed biotechnical manuals written in his species' complex geometric script. The young alien explained through gestures and broken English how Zephyrian construction worked with natural growth patterns rather than against them. "Tree-friend building," Crixtar clicked, his antennae twitching with excitement. "Not hurt growth, help growth stronger." Tommy bounced with enthusiasm as he watched his grandfather and alien friend pore over the diagrams. The boy had an intuitive understanding of spatial relationships that impressed both adults. He could visualize how the various components would fit together in 3 dimensions. Webb's engineering background proved invaluable. During the war, he'd commanded vessels that required constant field modifications under extreme conditions. He understood how to adapt alien technology to human purposes. The Zephyrian bioconstruction techniques could create structures that grew stronger over time, actually reinforcing the tree rather than damaging it. "The main support system will use living wood grafts," Webb explained to Tommy. Crixtar's People have developed a way to encourage the tree to grow additional branches, exactly where we need them. The project attracted attention from both communities. Dr. Elizabeth Morse, the colony's chief botanist, initially expressed concerns about interfering with the silverleaf's natural development. But when Crickstar demonstrated his species' deep understanding of plant biology, she became fascinated by the collaboration. "They're not building a treehouse," she told Webb after observing their planning sessions. "They're creating a symbiotic architectural organism. The structure will actually improve the tree's health and stability." Human children began gathering to watch the unusual partnership. Some parents expressed worry about their kids getting too close to the Zephyrian, but Tommy's fearless interaction with Crickstar gradually broke down barriers. The alien child's gentle nature and obvious intelligence became apparent to anyone who spent time observing. Meanwhile, adult Zephyrians clicked with disapproval when they discovered what Crickstar was doing. Their society valued practical construction for specific purposes. Building something purely for play seemed wasteful and incomprehensible. Several Zephyrian engineers visited the project site, their compound eyes analyzing every detail with obvious confusion. "Why purpose this construction?" demanded Vextil, one of the senior Zephyrian architects. "No function value detected." Tommy looked up from where he was helping Crickstar prepare organic binding compounds. "It's for fun," he said simply. "And for friends to meet, and for watching the sky." The concept of fun didn't translate well into Zephyrian, but Crickstar attempted to explain in his own language, his clicks and gestures becoming animated as he described the joy of creation without a purpose beyond happiness. Webb watched the exchange with growing understanding. This wasn't just about building a treehouse. It was about two species learning to value each other's perspectives. The humans were discovering that alien precision and biological knowledge could create beauty beyond their imagination. The Zephyrians were encountering the human concept of joy in creation itself. As the third day of planning concluded, both communities had begun to invest themselves in the project's success. It was becoming something larger than anyone had anticipated. Construction began at dawn on the fourth day. The silverleaf tree they'd selected stood at the settlement's edge, its massive trunk requiring 6 humans holding hands to encircle. Crickstar had spent the previous night in meditation with the tree, following Zephyrian bioarchitectural traditions that Webb was only beginning to understand. "Tree spirit accepts partnership," Crickstar announced, his antennae glowing with a faint bioluminescence that indicated deep satisfaction. Growth channels prepared for harmony building. Webb had assembled a team of human volunteers with construction experience. Former military engineers, civilian contractors, and even Dr. Morse joined the effort. The Zephyrian community remained officially disapproving, but several younger adults began observing from a distance, their compound eyes tracking every detail. The first challenge was reaching the appropriate height. The treehouse would sit nearly 40 feet above ground, where the silverleaf's massive branches created a natural platform. Human technology provided mechanical lifts and safety equipment, while Zephyrian biotechnology offered organic adhesives and living rope that would strengthen over time. Tommy served as translator and coordinator between the two primary builders. His grandfather handled the human engineering aspects, while Crickstar managed the bioarchitectural elements. The boys' enthusiasm kept both adults focused on the joy of creation rather than the technical challenges. Crickstar says, "The tree is happy," Tommy reported as they installed the first major support beam. "He can feel it growing new connections where we're building." The construction process amazed everyone involved. Zephyrian techniques encouraged the tree to actively participate in its own modification. Branches thickened and extended in response to carefully applied biostimulants. New growth appeared overnight, in precisely the patterns needed for optimal support. Human innovation complemented alien precision perfectly. Webb's team contributed weather-resistant materials, comfortable seating areas, and lighting systems powered by the settlement's energy grid. The structure began taking shape as something that belonged naturally in the tree, while providing amenities no Zephyrian would have considered necessary. By the end of the first week, even the most skeptical colonists admitted the project was remarkable. The treehouse looked like it had grown naturally from the tree itself, yet it provided a spacious, comfortable environment 40 feet above the ground. Windows offered panoramic views of the surrounding landscape, while organic walls provided perfect insulation. The breakthrough came when Vextil, the senior Zephyrian architect, arrived for what everyone expected to be a stern lecture about wasted resources. Instead, he spent 3 hours examining every joint and connection with obvious fascination. Construction methodology unknown to Zephyrian database, he admitted finally. Biological integration exceeds standard efficiency parameters. How is this possible? Krikstar's response surprised everyone. Speaking in formal Zephyrian, he explained that combining human creativity with Zephyrian precision had created new possibilities neither species could achieve alone. The translation made the adult Zephyrians click with what Webb had learned to recognize as intense interest. Innovation potential requires cross-species collaboration, Krikstar concluded. Joy creation produces optimal results. That night, 3 additional Zephyrian engineers requested permission to observe the final construction phases. The treehouse was becoming a symbol of what cooperation could accomplish. The treehouse's completion coincided with an unexpected crisis. A severe storm system approached Kepler 442b, bringing winds that could reach devastating speeds. The Colonial Weather Service issued evacuation warnings for all elevated structures, specifically mentioning the Treehouse project. "We need to take it down," announced Colonial Administrator James Harrison during an emergency meeting. "That storm could turn your treehouse into a projectile that destroys half the settlement." Webb found himself defending not just a construction project, but a symbol of interspecies cooperation. The bioarchitectural elements make it stronger than any traditional building. The tree and the structure support each other. Krikstar's compound eyes flashed with concern as he listened to the discussion. His species had extensive experience with extreme weather on their homeworld. Through careful clicks and gestures, he tried to explain that the treehouse design incorporated storm resistance features unknown to human engineering. Tommy stood between the arguing adults, his young face showing determination that reminded Webb of the boy's grandmother. Krikstar says the tree told him about big storms. They built it to bend but not break. The debate continued for hours. Some colonists wanted the treehouse dismantled immediately. Others argued that destroying it would damage the fragile peace between species. Dr. Morse supported the bioarchitectural theory, insisting that Zephyrian storm engineering surpassed human understanding. As the storm approached, an unexpected voice joined the discussion. Vextil arrived with 3 other senior Zephyrian engineers, their formal posture indicating they carried official authority. Speaking through the settlement's translation system, Vextil made a formal statement. Zephyrian Engineering Council has analyzed the hybrid construction. The bioarchitectural integration exceeds safety parameters for extreme weather. The structure will survive the storm better than most ground-level buildings. Administrator Harrison looked skeptical. "You're certain? If you're wrong, people could die." "Zephyrian calculations are never wrong," Vextil replied with the species' characteristic confidence. However, optimal storm survival requires activation of bioemergency protocols. The human child and Zephyrian youngling must perform the activation sequence together. Webb felt his heart skip. You want the kids to go up there during a storm? Crickstar's antennae flashed with excitement as he explained the process. The Treehouse's bioarchitectural systems included emergency responses that required conscious activation. The tree needed to be told to enter storm survival mode, a process that required both human intuition and Zephyrian biocommunication abilities. The activation must occur before the storm reaches maximum intensity, Vextil explained. Timing is critical. Too early, and the tree's energy will be exhausted. Too late, and the systems cannot respond adequately. Tommy looked up at his grandfather with complete trust. We can do it, Grandfather Marcus. Crickstar taught me how to listen to the tree's feelings. As the first storm winds began rattling the settlement's structures, Webb made the decision that would define his legacy. We go up together, all three of us. If this works, it proves that human-Zephyrian cooperation can overcome any challenge. The climb to the treehouse through increasing winds became the most terrifying and exhilarating experience of Webb's life. But as they reached the bioarchitectural chamber, he realized they were about to participate in something unprecedented in galactic history. The storm struck with fury that exceeded all predictions. Inside the treehouse, Webb watched through bio-integrated windows as winds approached 200 kilometers per hour. The entire structure swayed with the massive silverleaf tree, but instead of feeling unstable, the movement seemed purposeful and controlled. Tommy sat cross-legged next to Crickstar, both children maintaining physical contact with organic control. Nodes that had grown from the treehouse walls, the Zephyrian younglings' bioluminescent patches pulsed in rhythm with the tree's bioelectrical responses, while Tommy's intuitive understanding of the structure's needs guided their joint efforts. The tree is scared but strong, Tommy reported, his voice calm despite the chaos outside. Crickstar is telling it how to be flexible like Zephyrian buildings. Webb monitored the settlement's communications from the treehouse's integrated systems. Ground-level structures were suffering significant damage, but the elevated position provided a clear view of the storm's progression. More importantly, their bioarchitectural sanctuary was proving its worth under the most extreme conditions possible. Throughout the night, the treehouse became a coordination center for storm response. Its elevated position and storm-resistant construction made it the only safe observation point available. Webb found himself directing rescue operations from 40 feet above ground, while Tommy and Crickstar maintained the biosystems that kept their shelter stable. Sector 7 is flooding, Webb reported to the Emergency Coordination Center. I can see families trapped on their rooftops. The treehouse's position allowed for rescue coordination that saved lives. Its bioluminescent exterior provided a navigation beacon for emergency responders, while its communication systems remained operational when ground-based equipment failed. As dawn approached, the storm's intensity decreased. Tommy and Crickstar gradually allowed the tree to transition from emergency survival mode to normal operation. The process required careful attention to the organism's needs, demonstrating a level of bioarchitectural sophistication that impressed even the senior Zephyrian engineers monitoring from below. When the storm finally passed, the settlement emerged to discover that the treehouse had not only survived, but had served as a crucial resource during the crisis. The bioarchitectural hybrid had proven superior to purely human or purely Zephyrian construction methods. Administrator Harrison climbed to the treehouse as soon as conditions permitted. His expression showed the kind of wonder that Webb recognized from humanity's first encounters with alien technology. This changes everything, he said quietly. If we can build structures like this, we can create colonies that work with alien environments instead of fighting them. The aftermath of the storm marked a turning point for the Kepler 442b colony. Zephyrian and human engineers began collaborating on new construction projects. The bio-architectural principles demonstrated in the Treehouse were applied to essential infrastructure, creating buildings that improved their environments while serving human needs. Tommy and Crickstar became symbols of interspecies cooperation. Their friendship, built literally among the branches of an alien tree, proved that different species could create something beautiful together. The treehouse remained a gathering place where human and Zephyrian children played together, learning each other's languages and customs. Webb often sat in the treehouse during evening hours, watching the two children teach their friends about bioarchitecture and human imagination. The old soldier had expected to end his career managing a difficult peace. Instead, he had helped build the foundation for a future where humanity and their alien neighbors could create wonders neither species could achieve alone. The treehouse stood as proof that when different worlds come together, they can build something stronger than either could imagine. Among the silver-leaf branches, the seeds of tomorrow's galactic civilization had taken root.